Anybody want to come in the box?
Come in a box.
Right, I feel.
Can you hear me?
Oh yes. Do you know I spent about 4 hours today setting up a load of samples I could play. I can't do that now.
Oh no.
I was prepared in that respect, but yeah. Does anybody want to come in the box? Ask any questions? Any questions? You can ask us anything.
No.
Yeah, within reason. Within reason. So anybody does have any questions, it might be easy for somebody to actually say it out loud, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
Tell you what, let's get Mac and Mark in, yeah?
Yeah, get Mac and Mark.
What? Where's he gone? Is he in here? Fine. There we go. Mark, there's Mark. There we go.
They're scrambling now, trying to find a nice place in their house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like this big black screen behind me, mate.
Pile of washing behind them, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't have enough behind there, mate. So, Club wears lashes. Welcome in. But they've either rejected the...
No chance.
Come on, there must be some questions. If not, Phil, I'll fire some questions. I'll mow you away, mate, and then
yeah, we've got.
Then I can. Yeah. Hi. Sorry, lads, I'm eating. Well, that's fine, Mark. We'll see what you're eating. No worries.
I'll eat it with you. Send some this way. I'm always hungry.
Okay, well, that's Mark. That's fair enough. What about Mac? I'm out at the moment, but did the title of the track come about? How did the title of the track come about? Right, so how did the title of the track come about, Phil? How did we come up with that?
Just a bit of an earworm, isn't it? So we said, a bit infectious.
Yeah.
Kind of got in his head, and that was it. I'm like, it's like contagious, this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of ended up that way, didn't it? I think we didn't even really start with this track, did we? That's the thing. Like we had a completely different melody.
Yeah, exactly. It went totally off track, didn't it?
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, completely different melody, completely. We had about 10, didn't we? I think it was 10, 12, something like that, and just lost our minds and just went, right, bugger the boundaries. Let's just see where it goes. So yeah, we're.
I tell you what, let's get. I'm just going to get a few people in here, Phil. Yeah. If they, yes, they want to watch, but they don't want to come in. Look, there we go.
Matt, get in the box.
Well, we've got 11 people in the room watching us, Phil. So I'll tell you what, shall I fire some questions at you?
Yeah, go for it, Matt. Go for it.
And then I'll respond, and I'll give my view on it. Right. How would you describe your unique sound and style within the trance genre?
Yeah, how would I describe it? I don't know really. I don't really sort of stick to any sort of one genre. I like everything. I like everything rock, classical, everything. So
I've actually downloaded one of your tracks today, Phil, right? And I will play it later on. Darwin and Eternal Wave, Let's Dance.
Yeah.
174 beats per minute. I actually quite like it. I don't really like hardcore, but that's pretty
nuts. Yeah.
It's pretty nuts, that.
Yeah, that was a funny one, that. So we ended up down literally as far south as you can go. He lives down on the south coast. So I ended up travelling down there to work with him. Really interesting guy. He's done all sorts. He's got tracks on the dance mat.
You actually did that face to face then?
Yeah, so we went down to his studio, and mate, honestly, it was unbelievable. I learned a lot in that. Amazing guy. Like I say, he's worked for Konami and Mario and all sorts. So walking into his studio, I was like, and he was on Logic, so that's the right program. But yeah,
I think that's. I would say that's probably the only restriction of us collaborating. The fact we couldn't do it face to face, but there will be a follow up, no doubt, and we'll see if anybody can guess in the chat what the follow up's going to be. based on this track being called Contagion. So interesting. My unique style. So what was my? I would say that I've probably got a bit of a. I say who I like, who I try to be like. If you know, Pappy.
Yeah.
Fantastic artist. Darren Poor, those sort of people try to take elements of different bits. Now, whether I've sort of developed my own style or not, I don't know. Other people can tell me that, but I feel like I have.
I think you have. Yeah, I think you have.
But nothing like yourself, though, Phil. Master Melody, man. I call Phil Master Melody because he comes up with some amazing melodies.
Till I have a block. Can't write for 6 months.
Well, we should probably tell people before we started this track. I said, "Well, Phil, send some melodies across." And I think you sent how many? Don't you send across?
There were about 10, maybe 12,
10, 15 or something to choose from.
Yeah.
I was racking through them. Yeah, and then we actually landed on this one. So
yeah, because we didn't start on this one. We had a completely different idea in mind, didn't we? We were just like, just wasn't working, was it?
Nah, it wasn't right.
What can we do?
You know, and then we started going in the sort of harder direction. I'm glad we stayed at 140 though. We could have went faster.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think it would have been a bit too much.
Yeah, exactly. Right, another question for you then, Phil. What's the most important element of a trance track for you? Melody, bassline, or atmosphere?
Well, I think the melody's got to be on point. I think that's once that hook line gets in your ear, it's got to be an earworm. And, you know, it's because there's a lot of trance out there. That's the thing. There's a lot of really good producers. So there's a lot of noise. So you've got to have a really good melody.
Yeah, you know? If it doesn't hook you straight away, then it's probably
not. That's it. It's so much like every week. There's like 100 tracks, you know. So it's you've got to have a good earworm to really, you know, bring you in and, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I actually just said, you know, vocals as well. You can get a good.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. You know. Well, I've started exploring with vocals. You know, I say vocals, but I've started using Ethereal Gold vocals on Contact and stuff like that. You know, just to sort of the howls and the you know the hums and that sort of stuff rather than actual words.
Yeah.
I've got to stop overusing that though because I'm getting a bit over the top with that.
I love Contact. There's so many free, you know, samples out there to use on it in packs and.
Well, I tell you what, now I know how to use it, but it's so CPU heavy though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, you can easily load up 10, 15 different, you know, tracks. And what you should be doing, I should be bouncing it to audio really to give me a bit more room.
Yeah, this is what I'm having to do with the new Nexus 5 is CPU intensive. It's, you know,
yes. Well, yeah, and I actually got that, Phil, on your recommendation. So, you know, don't know how to use it yet.
Yeah, I'm still learning with Nexus 5. I've gone from 2 to 5, so it's broken.
Yes. That's a massive jump, isn't it? So have you noticed a load of checkers? Obviously, I've got enough to compare with. So.
I couldn't find the cut-off this morning. So, like, oh, God. No idea. But yeah, we'll get there.
I think for me, mate, I would always start with the melody. And if it doesn't hook me, then, I tend not to go much further, really. My atmospheres are changing now in the tracks. I'm trying to be more orchestral. Yeah. I like machines and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
Again, using stuff like Spire and stuff, you know, within Contact, I think it's great. Absolutely amazing. Super expensive, but it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Have we got any questions?
Got any questions?
Any question there? Will both of you be working? Oh, yeah. Will you both be working with any vocalist in the future? Thanks for that, DJ Wilbur. Listen, it depends. If anybody wants to work with me, I mean, maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Who would you like to work with?
Who would I like to work with? Who would I like to work with? Oh, well, that's a question. I think it's because there's so many, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot.
Is it? I think I can't if I get a name right, but is it Sarah McLaughlin?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, someone like that. I think she's got an absolutely phenomenal voice.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't think of her name now, Phil. Who's that? Who's the lady that featured on the Matt Derry track?
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I can't think.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, good track.
Yeah, she's amazing as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many out there. There's so many up-and-coming people as well. You know, you see on TikTok, there's so many people busking who could, like, you know, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal voices.
Yeah, Marcella Woods, that's a good one, Mark. That'll be. Adara is definitely one I'd love to work with. Adara's amazing. The one she did with Pitch That was just
Oh yes, yeah.
absolutely amazing. That
Yeah, Ren as well. Yeah, she's
yeah,
done a fantastic track with our team at the moment. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm always open to things like that. Definitely, I
yeah,
think it's just fitting the time in, isn't it? It's making time for it.
yeah, definitely. Like I say, I'm working with a couple of people at the moment, but whether they'll come into fruition,
You can't see. I mean, I know, but you can't give any of that away yet, Phil.
yeah,
Can
give
you?
it away. Like,
Can
but
you?
I don't think it's going to happen now. To be honest, I think it's going to fall through, which is a bit annoying.
Oh,
But yeah,
share it with us,
I'm
though.
working with like Angel City, so that was supposed to be a good one, but how the labels have been and stuff, and yeah, it don't look like it's going to happen. To be honest, it's which is a shame because it'd be really good that
And that's taken a bit. That's taken quite a bit of your.
yeah,
Your
about a year of work. But I don't think we'll see. But yeah, there's like I say, I think we've got about 3 tracks lined up. One of them's drum and bass. So again, like I say, we don't just really work in one genre, and a lot of people at the alias is that they work in different genres with,
I was just going to say, and that takes talent in itself, mate. Just to split yourself between different genres is quite amazing.
Oh, I
DJ,
didn't know what I was doing. I'll be honest. She went, "Oh, should we do this?" I'm like, I'll try." I think a lot of the time, I get to the end of a track. Sometimes I'm like, I don't remember writing after that. I don't know how I did that. Like I've been looking through this one. And I'm like, how did I do that cut off there? And I forget what I've done.
Yeah. Well, listen, Bill, I've done it many times. I listen back to my own tracks, and sometimes you think, what have I done there? I don't like that at all. I don't like that mixed down or whatever. I'm always doing that, but maybe that's just a self-critical side in us.
I think this is it. Yeah.
DJ Wilbur just said there, Marcella Woods. That's her name.
Yeah.
Fantastic, she was.
Yeah, really good. She does a lot of lives on here on the weekend as well. I tend to watch that.
Yes. Here we go. And Plum. Obviously, that girl. See, there's loads there. Loads.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't want to work with me, though. That's the problem. So I can live with that.
That's the thing. It's getting older, isn't it?
Exactly.
I got hold of Angel City accidentally. I literally messaged her on Instagram and it started to snowball. And then I was like, oh no, what have I done? Panic,
It's a good panic, though. That was good.
Yeah, it's really good. But
get involved
I think you've got to put yourself out, haven't you? You've got to say, let's do this. Like this, we were both nervous about doing this tonight, weren't we? We were like,
Yeah. Just because I thought we'd get lots of questions, Phil, but we haven't, so this is easy.
We've got more than one person, so that's good. It's more than each other.
Right, I'm going to ask you another question then, Phil. So which artists or producers have influenced your music the most, and how do they inspire you?
Growing up, I was listening to, Darude and Lost Witness and, all these kind of people. So for me, those two, like Darude, when he brought out Sandstorm.
Do you know what? I'm glad you say that, right? Because that was one track that I could not stand at the time, right?
Yeah,
as time's passed, I look back and think, actually, I love that track.
Yeah.
It's fantastic,
Yeah, this is the thing. I think as well, like with music, like you hear it in the clubs and things, and then you associate it with a good time, and then you start to like it. So
I associate with being younger, Phil.
Yeah, less grey,
That's great, mate. Jesus Christ. All the trance age seems to be in the 40s now, aren't they? From 38 to 40, 40 plus, right?
Yeah. So like I say, when he brought that song out, it was just, I'd never heard anything like it. And I remember going, my ears pricking up, like, what's this? And then Lost Witness with 7 Colours, that's the first sort of track I heard from him. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. That's
a fantastic track. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Oh, so is it there's a Patrick Dreamer remix, isn't there, on that?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Absolutely love that. That's probably my fave, to be fair. I absolutely think it's a fantastic track. I really do. I think for me, I'd have to say, undoubtedly, probably Darren Porter. I've spent, years following him since, probably since 2014, I think.
Yeah.
So,
he does a lot of really good orchestral stuff as well.
Yeah. If there's anything you can benchmark yourself work-wise against, it'll be against his sort of stuff. I absolutely love it. I mean, one of his tracks, Deep Blue, that for me, and I remember him saying he always wrote that. He said that on a live. I think he said that because I think it's one of his best tracks ever. But he was super down at that time, and you can almost hear the emotion in it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. Like we tend to force music a lot as well because you're like, you want another track, and sometimes you'll have like 4 or 5 tracks, and you've gone, yeah, that's good, and then something will happen, and you'll go, yeah, I'm going to write about this, and then suddenly it's like, yeah, I get it now. Like,
exactly.
It's weird how it can just hit you like that,
But do you know, when do you find your most creative, Phil? Because I find 2-3 o'clock in the morning, right, which is unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
But it's the only time that I can get
this is the thing with me. I was going to say this, like, how, because I was saying, like, the hardest thing about this job is finding time to do it, because, like, over there is my living room, so I'm on the headphones, and you can't really get the idea of whether it sounds okay, on the headphones. You can't need the speakers, and finding time when the family's not about and stuff. Like you say, you're up till 5 in the morning. You're like, oh no, I've got work in 2 hours. So it's you get your head down for half an hour and you're back up. I think there's a lot of producers doing that.
I have to restrict mine to the Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So often it's I think when you talking about your system there, have you got you got any calibration equipment? I bought Sound ID.
That's sort of my next thing I'm getting. It's just off in here. Like when I clear it.
Yeah, exactly. Before I got it, mate, it's transformed the way I do things now. You can hear sounds that you wouldn't hear before. It gives you a super flat response, which kind of sounds great on everything, Right, another question then, Phil. Okay, I guess I already know the answer to this, but can you walk us through your creative process when you're starting a new track? Where do you start?
I think it depends on what sort of inspired me at the time. So sometimes, like, I remember, what was it, Planet Earth, with David Attenborough, and I heard that, and I was like, I need to write like an orchestral piece now. Like, finished watching the program, and all the way through, I was edging to come and do an orchestral bit. So I think it depends. Like, sometimes I start with a melody, sometimes I'll start with sort of an orchestral piece. It could be anything. It could even just be a sample that I'm scrolling through on the side of Fruity Loops, and it's like, oh, that sounds good, and then you can build up from that. So I think it just depends what triggers you. Sometimes it can be just a kick, and you go, bloody hell, that's a nice kick. I'll throw that in and build something around it. So
the next question, Phil, based on what you just said, then your next question: do you come up with a name before you start your track?
Or do you name it always afterwards? It's all
so do I. And I'm speaking to a lot of other artists, and they normally come up with the name and then write the track around the name. So it's interesting.
Yeah, this is it.
What we got this, Mark. I've just yes, it is Sonarworks, mate. So I call it Sonarworks Sound ID.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Best investment ever, that, mate. I would recommend anybody getting into the music industry to get yourself one of those. If you're just a sort of a bedroom DJ or bedroom producer, or in separate room, very much like myself, you need that, definitely.
Yeah, this is it.
Evening, Minky. How are you? Solely has a cheap set of headphones and MacBook Air. Well, that's what you need, though, mate.
Yeah, that's it. You should see, when I first started out, I had a keyboard that were like an old Casio, and I'd wired it into my headphones jack, and I was recording samples off that and adding effects on the PC because that's all I could afford at the time, So everyone's been there, 2 knackered old screens, and
I think that's the thing. People fall into this illusion, don't they? I think you've got to buy all the kit and all the, I mean, if you look at Logic itself, if you know you've got all the instruments in there, all the VSTs, there's loads of samples you can use. You can spend a long time on that before you even need to go out and invest on Spire, Serum, and any of those, So you just need to be creative, I think, because often
that's all it is. It's, see what inspires you and sort of have it ready to go. I'd say that's the biggest thing. Like, have your system somewhere you can just dive on. So if you have that moment, you can dive on for 10 minutes and go, right, I'm just going to get that down and then I'll come back to it later. It needs to be somewhere accessible, I'd say a PC that runs well as well, because I had a PC that was just knackered, and it really made me not want to produce. You get on and it crash or something would freeze, and you'd just be fed up because you're like, oh my God, I can't, and I think that's one of the things, like, you need something that runs half decent as well. Even if it's just separate for the music, because that's one thing I do is I have a lot of stuff on my PC. I use it for gaming and other stuff, and it can interface, and sometimes it's better to just have a separate system.
Yeah, well, it's kind of how I work now, mate. It's all I use it for. I don't even use emails, and it's literally just music now.
Yeah.
What do you use, DAW-wise?
I'm on FL Studio. Still call it Fruity Loops. That's how old I am. You know.
Well, it's funny because I started on Fruity Loops, so I've always called it that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I found it way too complicated. I think Mac he's got himself actually he had a copy of FL Studio. I think he's got himself Studio One now.
Yeah.
Which again, I think is also quite complicated, but maybe I'm just simple-minded.
Tina's on Studio One as well, I think.
Yes.
Seems like a good bit of software, to be honest. A lot of people who are on that in the trance, you know. So
I've got no idea how much that costs. Does anybody in the chat know how much Studio One actually costs? I'm assuming you can run it on Mac as well, can you?
I wouldn't know. Let's see what's. And then got any more questions.
I think as far as my creative process is concerned, Phil, I would again always start from the melody. I just try to come up with 4 or 5 different melodies, one that hooks me, and then just stick with that. Give it a couple of days, then get bored of it and never finish it. Leave it for months. Same thing happens every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Soundy said that FL Studio is way too complicated.
It's complicated. There's about 5 different ways to do everything. That's the problem with it. It can be really easy once you get your head around it, and it's really useful because there's, like I say, there's so many different ways to get to your bus chain that you go, oh yeah, this is good now. I know you've got your head around it, but it does take a while. Like I came out of music for about 3 years before I came back and started doing trance, and when I loaded up FL, it were a different monster, you know.
Starting all over again, isn't it?
Start again, yeah. It were absolutely, upside down to what I knew. So, yeah, it's come on a long way. Used to be a bit of a gimmicky DAW, to be honest. It's still got that stigma, I think, of being, not very good, and but now it's so complicated, it can't not be good,
What do you use in terms of VSTs, Phil?
Oh, everything. I've got free ones, paid for ones. I've probably got thousands on there. I've got ones I've not used as well because there's so many free places to get, VST. That's the thing. There's so many free VSTs out there. Even off like old demo discs that I've had from computer music back in the day, they still work because it's just VST one. So they still work in all your DAWs. So there's sounds that you can find from 10, 15 years ago. You go, that's good. We'll use that. So I think I just mess about. That's all I do.
Talking of sounds, Phil, where can people find your melodies and presets?
All mine are on the patchbay.io.
I'm sure I've got some of yours.
Everywhere. I think it was the most illegally downloaded sample at one point with mine. Hardcore UK Hardcore 1. I think it was. It were bigger than Darren Styles. It was so heavily illegally downloaded. It was mad. I couldn't even sell a copy. It was just nuts.
Max just said their Spire is awesome to use. Yeah, mate, that's kind of all I use really. I'm going to use that. I've got Serum. I've moved away from Silent really. I used to use that for bass lines, but I've kind of gone just everything's in Spire now. So, but again, going forward, it might be Nexus. If I can get my head around that, if I sit down 1-to-1 with yourself, Phil.
Yeah. Spire's an animal. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah. I were on Silent one, and I've come off that now. Like I say, I think Spire's killed it.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I know that you're not supposed to know any real difference in sounds, but if you compare the sounds, Spire sounds far superior in my mind. If you
obviously, I do the program. Once you get into that matrix at the bottom, and you start programming the stuff in the background, what you can do with those sounds is just phenomenal. You can loop them back through and then distort them twice, and you can't really do that in Spire. You've got one distortion and that's it, and that applies to all your different sounds that you've put in. So it's a lot more powerful. I
think that's probably one of the biggest bits of advice as well is to learn sound design. Rather than going out and buying presets. Because I was getting to the habit of actually just going out and buying presets. And I thought, do you know what? This is costing me an absolute fortune. So spent time just focusing on how to use elements of Spire, and that's your life.
The thing. Like I try and keep my sample packs around £10 because I don't want people spending a fortune to make music. Because I know myself, like it's an expensive industry. Speakers £200 each.
Yeah.
you know, for a half decent set. It's not even top ones. These are lowest budget ones that Adam Audio do, and they're still £200 each. You know,
But just for anybody in the chat, though, just to clarify, you don't actually need any of that. You can just have a laptop and a cheap
yeah,
set
you
of
can. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
like if Sally there, as he mentions.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need anything, you know, big. But obviously, as you're going on, people want to improve and get bigger. I've only just got these. I was running on some old Hitachi ones with the centre blown out, and you know, that was last year. That I only got this about 6 months ago. So it's, you know, it's just an expensive hobby. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you say that, Phil, because we don't make an excessive amount of money in it, and that's the thing. It has to be called a hobby, I think.
Yeah.
You know, unless you make it massively big and whatnot. But I still regard it as a hobby. It's got to be a hobby.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I was talking to Mark earlier, Mr. Porritt, and he was saying like he's not bothered about charts. You know, he's just happy that people are listening to his music, and I think that's what it boils down to. You've got to enjoy, you know, the process. You've got to enjoy when people give you feedback. You know, so everyone.
You see lots of negative sort of people out there sort of talking about not good to be in the charts. Well, in my mind, even if it's for your own personal ego, right? Of course, it's positive, you know. And if it is in the charts, it means people are buying it, even if it's just one or two. So I see it as a positive all round.
Yeah.
I think, that's my view on the charts anyway.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think when people are, you know, putting your song in a DJ set and stuff, I think that's the biggest reward you're going to get, because they've physically chosen your song to play because they enjoy it, you know. So forget the money, you know. That's the best thing, you know. And then when they message you and they tag you and they go, "I've played your track," and I still get giddy. I'm like, yes, someone liked it, you know.
Exactly.
You never know.
Even if it's one person,
yeah, you never know. You know, we don't know what this is going to do. You know, it could fall flat on its face. You know, we've really gone a bit mad with the sound. You know, really hard.
Am I right in saying, Phil, I think it's something like we've got a 2.5 minute break.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many tracks out there that have a 2.5 minute break in it, you know. So so we've got to trying to do something totally different there.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. DJ Wilbur said we both have some unreal tunes. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Emily says, I've had years that you need proper monitors and you can make that. Yeah, mate, you don't need that. If anything, if you're going to use earphones, I would recommend though buying SonarWorks Sound ID and then actually using the calibrated flat response for your earphones, because then it'll give you a fantastic sound. Then you'll never need speakers, if I'm honest.
Yeah. The other thing as well, like, you know, people go on about like how it sounds and it's got to be crisp and it's got to, you go back 20 years and listen to any of those trance tracks, they're remastering them now because they didn't sound good. You know, it were about getting those tracks out and the emotion. You know, if you listen to those compared to some of the newer productions, there's no treble. You know,
I was just going to say that.
On record.
Yeah. I actually bought, I can't think the name. Is it Barthez On the Run?
Yeah. On the move.
Yeah, that's On the Move, sorry, yeah. So I actually, that's another track that I like, actually, but On the Run with, what's his name? Who's that guy? Oh, Jesus, man, I can't think of it. Anyway, I downloaded that off Beatport, mate. I'll tell you what, the levels are unbelievably low. As you say, there's some of the mids are missing. You think, wow, you know, so how music's changed in that respect is.
This is the thing. Like you say, you know, if you're playing back to back with some old tracks.
I knew Mac would help me there. Look, Tillman Macca. Yeah. Thanks, Mac. Cheers, bud. On the Run. Great track, that is.
Yeah, and this is it. That were another one though, On the Move, that, you know, that were another one that were quite hard for the genre, you know, and it was, I love that track.
It was quite fast, wasn't it? I can't remember the BPM of that, actually.
I think that was 140. I think it was.
Oh, let's have a look. This. I know one of his tracks was a bit quicker than that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I'm looking at Barthez Infected. That was a 142.
Yeah.
So it was just quick. Oh, Jace is on here. All right, Jason. How are you, sir? Do you want to come in a box?
Jump in. Invite you.
Let's see if he comes in. He'll probably reject.
Don't worry about the washing. Just put a sheet over it and come in.
See if he jumps in. Hi, Silky. How are you? Didn't see you there.
Does anyone have any questions?
No, he's probably rejected it, Phil.
I don't blame him.
I tell you, it's a good one for you. Look, right. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you face as a producer in the trance scene?
I think time. I think
Yeah.
finding time.
I agree with that, mate.
The biggest one. And again, getting your sound right. I struggle still with my mix downs. I still struggle. You know, it's can be a battle sometimes. I think because I use such a variety of sounds as well. Like I don't just use, you know, a gentle pluck or a, you know, like a nice intro.
Yeah.
I'll suddenly go, right, I'm going to do a hard lead now, and you know, you're like, all right, we'll soothe, flatten out the, you know, missing the top end, and you know, you're trying to scrabble with different bits because I use so many different, you know, VSTs. I think that's the thing.
It's probably worth mentioning there as well for when you say about levels and whatnot, because again, I think we all struggle to get that right. But there isn't no. It depends on the track. There's no real set template on levels of, you know, percussion, subs, and that sort of stuff. It depends on the track as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, it depends on your kick because you can have a kick like on this one. Like I don't know how you got the kick hitting this hard in this track.
Yeah,
I nearly blew my windows out.
Punches. Yeah, I must admit, it punches through like hell, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, through the mastering process, I use what's the program called? There's not a lot of I'll have to show you. There's not a lot of changes on it. But I'll show you what I've used. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was quite. It's quite a. I think we had 3 or 4 versions, didn't we?
Yeah.
We tweaked and we actually settled on this one.
Yeah.
Version 2.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. I think for me, it's probably about having time. You know, as I said, I'm limited to 3 days a week, for crying out loud. You know, so if I can't squeeze into that. Yeah, it's.
I think this is the thing as well. A lot of us are working on the side, you know, and I don't think people see that, you know, that we're, you know, we have jobs and kids and families and things like that, you know, and people sort of go, "When's your next track out?" Which is great, and I'm chuffed to bits that people are asking, and you're desperate to get one out, but you're like, "I've only got 5 minutes this week to, you know, do any work on it," and it's frustrating for us because all we want to do is sit here and make music, but we've got to earn money. You know?
I just get, isn't that annoying? You know what I mean? If we had enough money just to do that, I mean, that'd be my dream job, Phil.
Yeah, I'd love it.
I'd be living the dream, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to sit there, you know, 10 hours a day and just make music. I'd love it. You know,
don't get me wrong. I'd have a crooked neck, bad back, and funny eyes.
Yeah,
but I'd be doing what I love.
I've already got that, mate.
Exactly, hunched over. Well, to me, it's not. You do this, don't you? I sit in there when I start my night. Right, I think to myself, right, I'm going to sit with chair, nice and straight, back straight, put the lumbar support on. By the evening, by the time I finish, I'm so hunched over.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah,
you know, I went out and bought myself a good chair as well with all the support on it, and I don't like to use it.
Yeah, I do. I end up at the end of my teeth. You know.
Sorry, Jace. Sorry, just listening to you while I'm cooking tea. No worries, Jace. What you having for tea, mate? Plus, he hates being on camera. Yeah, that's fair enough.
So do I.
DJ Wilbur has asked us, do we have any gigs upcoming, lads? No, I don't have any gigs upcoming, DJ Wilbur, unfortunately. I say unfortunate. There was a few that I should have done last year and I turned down for different reasons, to be fair. That might change next year. I don't know. But yeah, if I'm honest with you, do I enjoy it? I don't know.
Yeah, we had this discussion, didn't we, a while back? Like,
yeah.
I think the nerves get the better of me. You know, even when I release tracks, you know, I think
maybe that's what's kind of happened to me then. I mean, I don't feel nervous in that respect to do the gig, but maybe that's the thing. Subconsciously, I feel like, I prefer making the track and then listening to someone playing it. And that for me is.
Yeah, this is it. I think, like, I get nervous with the DJ, and I used to do it, and you know, if you do it on crap kit as well, you know, it's sometimes you're like, oh no. So I just stopped doing it. Like, you know, I ain't bought a controller for years because I didn't enjoy the pressure.
I was just going to say, the fact you didn't enjoy it, there's no point in actually, you know.
No, this is it. To be fair, it's something I'd like to get back into, but I don't know if I'd do it. I might do it on here, but I don't know if I'd do it in front of a crowd again. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing, like, it's I think getting the job. I mean, I've probably had 2 gigs in my career, and people wouldn't even know about it because they're so small, like little pubs and whatnot. And but yeah, even if it's 3 or 4 people dancing in front of you, you getting the vibe you get off them is fantastic. So imagine doing something like Luminosity or something like that. Wow, absolutely unreal.
Yeah, that's it.
Phil, right? So how do you stay motivated when you hit a creative block?
I don't. I tend to just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't try and force it.
I don't do that very well, and this is my point. I think I go on and on and on until I burn myself out, then leave it for days. What am I doing? You know what I mean? I should just do it.
I don't think I do anything apart from I just walk away from it. I'll go and do a bit of PlayStation bashing on my free time rather than doing that, because I just think you can sit here sometimes and you go, this isn't working. I can't get a melody together, and I love writing a melody. I can sit here and write 5 in 20 minutes, but sometimes I can write a melody and I just go, I'm not connecting with that. Not connect. Honestly, I've got thousands sat on this PC, thousands of them. Not even joking. That I just either I'm like, I'm not feeling it, or I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And sometimes it's a melody that's just so out of sync with any sort of genre that I just can't fit it into a genre. Like it'll just be too mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is an issue. What about you? Just crack on, man.
I think one thing I do know going forward is I need to spend more time just chilling out rather than trying to. I think it's I need to get this done, and I think it's the 3 days I've got. I try to cram as much as I can in.
Yeah, this is the problem.
Might not necessarily be the most creative process ever. So it's again, I remember hearing Darren on here on TikTok when he was saying about you do 2-3 hours, leave it, go away, do something else, come back. Never managed that.
Yeah, I don't do that. If I get into it, I'm into it. I can't walk away. But then my ears are dead. Like headphones on half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they call it. Ear fatigue sets in, and by the time, how many times have you done something, Phil?
I know where you're going. Come back 2 hours later, you're like, bloody hell, that's shite.
When you listen to it, you go, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. I've done that back and I'm like, that's out of tune.
I haven't managed, to be fair, I haven't managed that, but Jesus, it wouldn't surprise me. I started new one a couple of days ago. 3 months I couldn't do anything. Yeah, exactly that, mate. You had a creative block. It just happens, doesn't it?
I had it for 3 years. 3 years, I just didn't write a thing. Just stopped.
How did you? So in those 3 years, how did you feel in those 3 years? Was you missing it, or were you just?
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it now. I think that's what the problem was. I had a bad PC, and I just got so fed up of fighting it and it crashing. And what were annoying is because everyone does it. Back in the day, I was using crap stuff. Crap.
We've all done that, mate. Yeah, I think my Fruity Loops is crap.
You bought your first PC at £1,000. You're like, right, and I was using all this crap stuff and it works fine. And the second I bought it stopped working. And I'm like, bloody hell, it's so frustrating because you're like, I've got all this stuff that worked before and now I'm frustrated because I've paid for it, it don't work anymore, so you get annoyed, you do, the support for a lot of these bigger companies is rubbish, it's absolutely rubbish, and you're struggling through forums. You had it the other day actually, didn't you, when something wasn't working and you were going through forums trying to find out.
Oh, yes, so Logic wasn't allowing me to input audio, right, and I've sussed it out in the end. There was like a file that you had to delete from the cache file or something like that. I managed to do it in the end. Then it came up again the next couple of days and did the same thing again.
Yeah.
It's a preferences folder, right? Yeah. But as you can imagine, in your Logic, you're setting all your preferences, because I've got all my short keys and everything. Spent hours doing it. Yeah. As soon as you delete your preferences, that all goes.
Yeah, you got to start again. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's happened. It's kind of, since I've done the latest update, it's kind of sorted itself out, touch wood. Yeah, but because you've got 2 ways you can actually input audio in Logic. You can actually go through the file, or you can go to the opposite side where you sort of drop down menu. It allows you to do it that side.
Yeah.
Really odd. Really strange.
This is the thing. I think they have to support. Sometimes it's just lacking. They leave it to forums, and you're trying 15 different remedies, and you're like, well, none of that's worked, and now my settings are upside down, and and like I say, my biggest problem was I had a bad PC. It just wasn't very good. So things were crashing, and the CPU were through the roof, and I think all it was, now I'm looking back and I know a bit more about FL, it was just that there was one setting wrong.
Really?
That's all it was. It was killing my CPU. So I sort of fell out with it. I'd had enough, and like I was doing a lot of samples for dance MIDI samples as well. and you sort of pushing to get the next one out, and again you start hitting creative blocks, and you're like, this has become a job now. I'm not enjoying it as much as when it were a hobby.
Yeah. So, and the moment you do that, you've got to take a step back, and if you're not enjoying it,
the thing I was like, I need some time out. So, but yeah, missed it, came back.
Any questions,
guys? Anyone else got anything?
Transaddict, evening, mate. How you doing? Max says all the hard work for him starts in January. Yeah, I hope it's going good, Mac. You've got, didn't you say you had Studio One now, I believe? Yeah. The
29, aren't they, in the Beatport chart? So, in the hype.
Yeah, well done, lads. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, as good as that.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really good.
I seen Melina played it yesterday. A few people were banging out on TikTok. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you want. The more people play it, the better, man.
Yeah, this is it. First go through, see if I missed anyone.
Well, here's an interesting question here, Phil. Now, bearing in mind, everybody can tell that we haven't gone through these questions. These are just.
Oh, yeah, no idea.
But it's probably get the best flavour from us. What is your favourite track of your own and why? Questions. But my favourite track, Jace, is probably Nocturnal Bliss. And I wrote that at 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday night, and I went through to Sunday morning. I thought I couldn't, and that's why I called it that, Nocturnal, because for me it was bliss when I was listening to it. I loved it. If I listen back now, though, there's elements that I wish I didn't put in it or which I changed, but you can't dwell on it, can you? You know what I mean? It's out there to the masses now. So, yeah, that's probably my fave, mate.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you say, you can go looking back and you go, "Oh, that sounds awful."
Yeah, I do. I listen to all my tracks, Bill, and I cringe. Oh,
yeah.
Has anybody noticed that?
Anyone listening to it won't be. That's the thing, because that's how they enjoy it. You know, like I bet there's people, you know, like what we were saying earlier, Lost Witnesses and Darude and all them sort of people. I bet they look back at their tracks and go, "Yeah, oh, I hate that now." You know.
Wait, funny. I remember watching a YouTube video, and I remember Sean Tyers saying that he on one of his latest tracks, I can't remember the name of it, but he said, "Oh, I didn't like the mix down on that." And when I listened to it, it sounded immaculate.
Yeah.
Then what didn't he like about that? And I listened to it again, and I thought, "There's nothing on that I would change." What's he hearing?
Yeah.
But yeah. What would you say yours is then, Phil?
I'd say the one with Darwin, because it was such an amazing, you know.
We're gonna have to play that on the live. You know that now. Now you've said that. I bought a copy of it, so we're gonna have to play it later on. But
yeah, that was. I think that was the first time I've been in like a proper home studio. You know, because I was working off, you know, a couple of knackered old monitors, like I say, and a couple of knackered old monitors. You know, everything was just rubbish. So when I walked into his studio and he's got keyboards everywhere, and you know,
isn't it funny when you walk into when you walk into a proper studio? I mean, I've only ever been in one in my life, from in London, and the whole energy changes.
Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it? It's like, wow, this is like a bit. Not that you're going to do anything different there that you would do when you were, you know, as we said earlier, when you only need a pair of earphones and a laptop and the software. But I think it just gives you that. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, you know, it's like MVK. He's just brought out that album on CD, hasn't he? And it's like I've been listening to that, and it's like, oh,
who's that? Who's that?
Nick, you know,
Nick. Yeah, no, I've got a copy of that. I think he's in the post.
Yeah, and I was just like, I listened to that on, you know, Spotify, which the one who should not be named, but but yeah, listen to that, and yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Some of the sounds in that, you can tell he's got lots of knobs and you know, stuff to twist and get amazing sounds.
Well, I've seen some of the videos he puts on there. I mean, I just think some of the work he does is phenomenal. Really useful.
My wife would have me bin in all that. She wouldn't have that in the house, you know. Too many machines.
Yeah, because if it was me, I'd have everything fully racked out. I'd have everything analog, and I'd be, you know, because I think playing with, you know, I'm not going to say playing with knobs because that doesn't sound right, but you know, playing with sort of, you know, levels of things and in an analog format is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I don't think you can get the sound, because this is the thing when I'm working with, you know, Lara on Angel City, and she's basically trying to remake her original album because of copyrights and things like that, but she needs carbon copies.
Yeah,
and I was telling her straight up, it's going to be really difficult to emulate on there.
Well, let's just
using, you know, Nord leads and things.
letting people know in the chat there, Phil. So she didn't have any of her records that she could use, did she? But you had
no,
to.
so basically, I think she's got rights to about 3, but the rest, like, there's not a radio edit of "Love Me Right" on Spotify because it's owned by Ministry, and Ministry won't put it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So she was having a lot of issues with that. So she's like, I need carbon copies to sing over so that I can re-release them, but they need to be identical because any note or anything slightly off, it's going to be a nightmare to do. So we basically had this chat and said, I'll try, but it's never going to be 100%. You might have to release it as a 2025 mix, or, you know, because I said, you're just not going to get the same sound. You can't get the warmth out of.
So just to cover that, you spent a year emulating these tracks, right? And carbon copy,
bits and bats and going backwards and forwards,
which takes an enormous amount of skill. So
yeah, just figuring stuff out because I've had no midis or anything like that, you know, given to me. I've had to sit there and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think she's worked with a couple of other producers as well, but yeah, to figure out all the little elements and what's, you know, like there were one in "Love Me Right." There's, as it goes on, it's just a little change, but all it is one of the cymbals changes sound as it goes through. Just something so simple, but when you start really, really getting your ear into it and bringing all the levels down and the EQ and just trying to listen, and you can hear it pitches up as it goes through the track. So, like at the beginning, it's sort of a C, but it actually changes, you know, and goes all the way up to the next C by the end of the track. So it's just little things that, you know, producers don't notice.
That brings me onto a thought process there, Phil. So what you just said there about, so anybody that wants to get started into the, you know, in the sort of trance genre and you're starting out, one of my biggest pieces of advice is, which what I always did, is get your favourite track, your favourite trance track, put it into your DAW and listen to every element and try to emulate it. Try to copy that track, basically. You know, not that you're going to release it or do anything like that. Yeah. Try to copy it. And then once you've got that to a T, you can then start developing your own sound later on down the line, you know. But it's about getting and you can also use it for levels and stuff like that. I have a go-to track. The
other good thing you've got now as well is stem separators, so you can actually listen to the individual elements with that as well. Which is,
have you got that? Have you got that in FL?
Yeah, so it's built into FL, but it only breaks it down into 4 elements. So you've got like the drum, you know. Maybe 5 because you've got the vocal as well. But yeah, drums, bass, you know, sometimes percussion, bits and bats. But there's other stuff like I think Lander.
Yes, does it a bit better.
Break it down and really break it down into like just your cymbals, and then you can sort of hear what's going on. So
really does depend on the track though, doesn't it? Because I've used Lander before, and I noticed that when sometimes bass lines clash with some of the percussion, and you get a bit, you know, you get bits of it, but you can actually pick out some of the, because it puts into MIDI for you as well. If the notes are clear enough, it'll actually give you a MIDI setup.
Yeah,
amazing. Hang on, this is a question here. So, how do you stay motivated? You know, we've covered that one. What gear software do you find most? Here we go, Phil. So, what gear or software do you find most crucial in your production process? So, what could you live not? You know,
well, not live without? Your DAW's the biggest one. You know what you're using. You know, your DAW's got to be the big one because, and I think anyone who's getting into it needs to try, you know, all of them because they all have demos. So try them all because. Yeah. Don't fall into a trap. Yeah, don't fall into that just because he's using it. I'm gonna get that. Yeah, try them all. Yeah, definitely. This is the thing because you can all like we did. We don't work on the same DAW, but you can export stems and still work with other people. So it's not too much of a problem really. You know, if I suppose the other thing is if you've got someone who you know who is producing, maybe sort of work with them and see, you know, what they're doing.
Oh, they do exactly.
Because you can get a lot of advice. I know, like Artina, bless him in the background, he helps a lot of people.
Oh,
he don't brag about it, but he really helps a lot of people.
One of the best, nicest fellas in the industry, without doubt. He's got such a nice temperament about him. He's just lovely, isn't he? He really is a nice guy, man.
He helps so many people in the background. Don't brag about it. Never says anything. You know.
Honestly, one of his favourite tracks for me, right? My favourite track of his is. Harper's Theme, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not. Is it? That's like in brackets, but I can't remember.
Yeah, wrote 2 tracks with his kids, isn't it?
I absolutely love that track. Yeah. Gets me every time. I can put that on and just absolutely, I love it. Absolutely love that track.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Did I answer that question, Phil? Oh yeah, I think for me would be if DAW's the obvious one. I would say that I probably couldn't live without. I couldn't live without my fab filters, to be fair,
Yeah.
because I can't using the standard logics. I've moved away from that now. Like, there's so many more things you can do in the
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
stuff.
Definitely. Like I was using all, Fruit Loop stuff up until last year.
Yeah.
And changed my sound completely.
Yeah.
Completely changed my sound as fab filter. But yeah, it's...
Oh, we got DJ Carol. Good evening, DJ Carol. How are you, mate? Does anybody in the chat have any questions regarding making music or our track, which is due to be released on the 3rd of January?
Plug.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll do that every 5 minutes. Well, I tell you what, here's a good one then, right? So can you share any advice for new producers trying to break into the trance scene?
Just make tracks and release. Just release music. Even if you're just releasing the melodies, release stuff. Build your algorithm.
And finish them. Finish your tracks. Don't leave them unfinished. Just get them finished. Because I've got so many unfinished projects on my laptop, right? Which we could probably share, Phil, and you could do something with or whatever. And it's, just finish them. Got to finish them. That's what I would say.
I think reaching out to people as well, like we did. I think that's another thing. There's loads of examples of it, but just talk to people and get information and sort of. I think there's a lot of people, get a bit nervous about asking people, and 90% of the people out there will help you, or they'll send you a video that they use that helps them or something.
Yeah, so exactly that, mate.
Help. That's a big one.
And to add to that, I would say being present on social media, but supporting others. I can't stress that enough. Supporting others, right? Because what will happen, and you're not doing it just to be reciprocated, but it will happen. People will realise actually, just help each other.
That's the thing, because at the end of the day, it's #transfamily. I'm probably talking to about 5 or 6 different producers a day, and just chatting backwards and forwards, and I'm happy to share on my wall other people's stuff. I'm not in competition with anyone except myself, so I'm quite happy.
Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. It's the best way to be. And I would also say, if you're breaking into the scene and whatnot, or trying to, very much like myself, don't be negative. Ignore negativity. Remove those people out of you, because you don't need that. It's I see a lot of negative comments and whatnot on there, and I either filter out or just block them now. I can't be arsed with it. It's not needed.
Well, we said this thing with the other week. We were chatting, and I said this, like, if someone asks me if 2 + 2 is 10, I'll just say no.
Well, I think that's an age thing now, Phil. Because one of my other thoughts was that for you to break into the trance, you've got to be 38 plus.
Yeah.
It's the only way it's gonna,
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, here you go. Look, Fallen Order. How you doing, mate? How did you come up with the idea of the track? Well, I think we covered this earlier on. So, how did we come up with the idea of the track, Phil? I think Phil just sent me a melody. Sent me 10 melodies.
Yeah, we just sent a lot of melodies and said,
let's pick from them.
And then it progressed, didn't it, from there? Because we had it quite a gentle lead at first.
I must admit, it was a bit weak, wasn't it? And then you hardened it up a bit with
we cranked up the speed a bit, and then it's something you can't play on a keyboard anymore. I've tried. I can't.
You can't do it. No.
Had to go earlier. I'm like, no, not showing that one off.
No, listen, I'm the one thinking man when it comes to keyboards anyway.
Yeah, just tinkle. Yeah.
So how did you keep coming up with the ideas for the track to keep pushing it forwards? We didn't really have any stalling points though, did we? It was just
no, like you sort of sent me the main bit of the track after I'd sort of sent the melody across, and then I sort of did the break. But for me, I think it was once we got that lead, I thought this isn't trance anymore. It's turned into something a bit different. So
on the cusp of it's odd, isn't it?
So like I need to come up with some mad sounds. So like I think one of the sounds was I think I've got it on here, but like one of the sounds was just like one of the vocals that you originally sent. I don't think it's in anymore. But it's just on a tape stop. So the vocals goes at the end of that bit.
Yeah, no, I think it still is in, Phil, but it probably could have come up in levels of it. We can't change it now, but it probably could have come in levels.
No, the actual original, because you changed the, I think with the Imperials, you changed the sample, so it's the original vocal line you had it over.
Oh,
so
okay.
So, like I said, that got mashed and tape stopped, and
you know, it's so annoying that I can't connect this onto the thing because I've got on my sampler here. I've got so many. I literally extracted all the samples so I could play them as we were talking, but I can't do that now. But one of them, you know that the sort of sound that drops down into the. It's not like a sub.
I don't know how well you can hear it, though.
It's like a tonal effects.
So we had. Where is it? Let's have a. So there was this one where it breaks down.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So that started out as this.
Yeah.
And then I just tape stopped it. So like all the samples, like even the sounds for the lead and stuff, were kind of made like it wasn't a case of let's just use the rumplers from Texas or something. We actually went in and messed about.
And the acid as well, Phil, that you said.
Oh yeah, we did.
I love that.
So that were another one I wrote Inspire. Let me just. I don't know if you can see any of this, but
no, we can hear it though. Yes.
So that's again made in there just for this track. So yeah, most of the sounds have been made. There are a couple of rumplers. I think we had like what is it like a techno sample that goes that was from Nexus, I think, with a slight tweak.
It's those little elements, absolutely, and I think they transform the track. I love that. I
don't know if you can see on here, but there's so many little bits that put in. Let me see if I can make it bigger so you can see. But
have you got your lead sound on there as well, Phil? Because so that was supplemented with I think it was a Ferry Corsten preset lead I had.
Yeah. So this is a lead that I was doing for a sample pack actually. Let me just. But it's got loads of delay on it.
Yeah.
It just keeps going up.
What do you use for your delay, Phil?
I just did that inside Spire.
Oh, you did that inside Spire, yeah, fair enough.
It's so powerful that you can do it, and you can cut the low out of it so you don't end up with a muddiness. It's really good. It's really good. I've
got into the habit. I try to where I can. I avoid using delay and reverb in Spire now. It's just the way I do things. Always, even if I'm doing them individually, and just use what's the free plugin that we've got? What's it called?
What's that?
I can't think what it's called. Fucking mine's gone.
Oh, the Valhalla.
I use Native Instruments Replica for me delay, but I'm trying to think. Oh, that's it. Sound. Fuck me. Why can't I think what the fuck it's called? Jesus Christ. I can't think what it's called, mate. But it's free anyway. It's free, and I'll have to dig out if anybody asks in the chat what it is. Richard has given us a thumbs up. He says track synth. Thumbs up. Cheers, mate. Do you have any questions, Richard? Oh, Craig's in there. Craig Mortimer, how are you, mate? This guy is an absolute genius on the old piano.
He might be able to play this then, because I can't.
Oh, no, listen, he probably would be able to play it, mate. I'll tell you now. That's it. Valhalla Supermassive. That's what I use for my my reverb.
Yeah.
Cheers, Sally. Right, I've got another question, Phil. I'm going to keep the questions coming now, right? Here we go. What's your opinion on the evolution of trance music over the years? It's a good one.
Yeah. On the spot. I don't know really, because I think different ways trance is going, to be honest. I think some people are going more into the techno side now.
I'm going to ask you a question, Phil, just to help the question along. I'll help it along. Right, so what is melodic techno?
Well, you tell me.
I mean, is it trance? I don't know what it is. You know,
I don't know, to be honest. I think there's a lot of merging going on at the moment, and I think it's because like there's quite a lot of trance that sounds the same now. So you can do it. I think Darren Porter does it. He goes through and he's going no, no, no. When he's going through and he goes to new releases and he goes no, 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 no. And I think it's because there's a lot of. I think people are scared to break the mold. I think that's one of the things. Like I know with this track, we've just kind of done what we want.
Let's be honest, Phil. We kind of didn't really care. We were just put because we liked it. So if nobody else likes it, well, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
And then the fact the label liked it was great for us.
Yeah.
Slower trance is melodic techno. Exactly that, Sally. I knew somebody would say that. Yeah. That's what this. I mean, so it's basically trance, isn't it? You know, where's this melodic techno come from?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think just do what you want. I think that's the biggest thing because, like, when you look back at the old CDs, like Ministry of Sound, it'd be like trance, whatever, and you'd have stuff like Barthez in there that now would be techno, really. It wouldn't fit into trance. It'd be probably classed as techno. You always have to read on these things.
I'm glad the fact you brought that up, right? So we talk about the evolution of it. It's become too complex as far as I'm concerned. Because even I do that. I get my tracks and I put so many elements in it, and I think that's a bit too busy now. Now I start taking bits out again. Yeah. You know, if you listen to a Barthez track, it's very simple, simple elements. You know. Maybe that's the trick. I mean, my track Eternity, when I did that, it was the simplest track I could do, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep it simple, and it did quite well. Yeah. Maybe that's the trick going forward, just simplicity.
That's the thing. You can overcomplicate it, you know. Yeah. Like even in this, I think the pads. I think I've got about 5 pads laid up.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it can be. But on the other hand, as well, there's other tracks that I absolutely adore that are so complicated, and there's so much going on. The little, you know, sounds that you hear, and you're like, oh, that's cool. I like that bit.
Yeah,
but I don't think a lot of people listen to it like.
Yeah, they're the people. Well, this is the other thing we should talk about, Phil. So when you become a producer, you tend to over listen to music, don't you? It's quite irritating actually because you listen to that's a bit high. You know, the highs are 2 or the mids are 2. You know, I just want to listen to the track like I used to, but I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, this is
you start picking elements out of that. How do you do that?
I do it on TV as well. Like I think it was The Little Mermaid, and we're watching that with the kids. And we sat there, and I'm like, he doesn't sound like he's outside. He sounds like he's in the studio. It sounds, you know, like why does it sound
reverb.
Like he's in the studio? Like it just. So yeah, it starts to spoil things as well. You know,
yeah,
enjoy it. You know? Yeah. So yeah.
DJ Wilbur's put there, Phil. He said that Beatport have wrecked it with all the genres. Exactly that, mate. Wow. I mean, Jesus. There was a point some time ago. Wasn't there was a techno track topping the charts, wasn't it? The trance charts a couple of months ago.
Well, it's like when me and David and Andy did the United Worlds, and that went into Electro.
Yeah.
Even though it was released on Trance FC, and we were all like, "What? It's the label says Trance," you know.
That is so annoying, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really annoying.
So how did that happen, though? Did that happen by accident, or?
Yeah, just like we were all just sat there and like it's in the wrong genre. Oh no, you know. And we'd had Armin van Buuren play it like 2 weeks before.
I know you did, yeah.
This is going to be great, and it just hit the wrong genre and flopped. We were like, no, you know, we just
couldn't have gone any worse, could it? How annoying is that?
Like we were just saying, because we were chatting to Sai and Lost Witness, and he was just like, oh man, I'm fuming for you both, and I said, yeah, but we don't do it for, that. I said, I'm so happy that. Armin van Buuren played it.
Exactly that, mate. I'm exactly the same.
That he played the track. So for me, that was I was done. I didn't care that no one bought it. It was. I'm like, wow. It's been in a state of trance. I'm done. I can quit. Go to bed now. So
exactly. I think it's you and I know if it's played on there. I mean, I don't really know what Armin's doing at the moment. It's kind of doesn't really play a lot of trance on there at the moment, does he? It's a bit bitty.
But again, I think it's the same with us. Like with this track, I think you just go, I'm just going to do what I want. I think you get to that point in your life where you just go, I'm going to play what I like and do what I want.
Yeah, just do it. Just do what you want.
And, if people like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't.
Well, that's kind of how I feel at the moment. Phil, it's Fallen Order has just asked us there. 2025. What can we expect from you both? Uplifting or harder stuff, or a bit of both?
Well, we've already got a name weird left to saying earlier that we don't want to build a track on a name. We've actually decided to do that this time.
So let's just so people in the chat. So we have myself and Phil. We're going to be doing a follow up track to this track. Because anybody in the chat guess what the name of the track will be? Based on the fact that this track is called Contagion, what will the follow up be? That's an interesting one. See if anybody gets that. If somebody gets that, mate, I tell you now.
Yeah.
But I think I've got some projects on my system that I need to try and finish at some point. But again, it's finding the time. You know, it really is.
Yeah.
It's January hit, so we're back super busy again.
Yeah.
Craig Morton, I think the top levels had their favourites most of the time. Yeah, I agree with that, Craig. You agree with that, Phil? I think they tend to have the favourites that they keep playing over and over again. And if you get, if you're not part of that bigger circle.
I think the thing is as well, like you've got your larger labels as well who actually pay for plays. So like on radio stations, they're actually paying the radio stations to play the tracks.
I'm just going to say, I mean, who does that? That's a bit like DJing or paying to DJ, isn't it? I mean, why would you do that?
I know, especially like BBC, Radio 1 and stuff like that, when you get to the big guys, all their tracks are pay for plays. So eventually what happens is you're kind of brainwashed into liking the track because, like we said earlier, you're in a club, you're enjoying the time, and then you're associated with that memory. So I think you're kind of brainwashed into liking these particular tracks. And that's one thing about trance I like is that it's people choosing it. It's not in the mainstream. People actually listen to it.
I'm not sure a lot of people know that, Phil, that tracks are, you pay to play. But they are. All of them are. All the radio plays. And that's why they play so often, because you're paying that.
That's how the radio stations make the money.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it.
Jamie Archer, how you doing, mate? Richard says he agrees with that innovation. Right, let's see if I've got any more questions here. Yeah, we covered that one. Here we go, Phil. So do you think trance music has reached its peak, or do you see it evolving in new directions?
Yeah, I think we kind of covered that. I think everyone's sort of doing their own thing. I know a lot of people are going into the techno sort of sound of it now. I think the thing with trance as well, like it doesn't follow a specific pattern. Like if you listen to pop music, it's always someone with a guitar, or it's it's always that sort of sound. Like your Taylor Swift, it's always with a guitar and a band, and and they all sort of sound the same. And it's like the 4-chord song. You've probably heard it, and every song fits those 4 chords.
The same ones. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think with trance, you can go 16 bars, 32 bars, 64. You can go as long as you want with trance. Like you can just keep going up and up and up and up and up, and it takes you somewhere that no other genre does.
There's a lot of tracks at the moment in the charts I've noticed, and they're all following the same bass line. Yeah, and it's unbelievable. And people won't even. I don't know if anybody noticing it, right? But I'll probably show you later on. But there's about 5 tracks I can count, right, in my mind that follow the same. It's identical. You think, wow, and I think it's because it's probably quite a popular follow through. But I'm not keen on. Jamie Archer says I'm not keen on the techno elements being introduced into trance personally. Yeah, I agree, mate. If I'm honest with you, I'm not a massive lover of techno. It's never really,
No, that's what's so weird about this track. Like we've gone so mental, but like I was sort of into the hardcore scene a while back, and like again, the one that did well was the techno one, which is weird because it's like we didn't sort of expect that to do well, and it did. So I don't know. I think sometimes it just happens, and then you have a good track. I don't know. I can't describe how
If you just on our track, if you could change anything in our track now, because obviously it's too late now, but what would you change?
I don't think I would.
I would change one thing, but if you change by most people, I would speed it up a little bit. I'd probably take it to about 144, 145, something like that. I don't know why. I'll spit it up on my controller and it sounds better.
Yeah.
Faster pace, but
Yeah, this is like, I think that comes down to constraints, don't it? Like you want it to fit a certain genre, so
yes,
it's a bit. It's one of them. It's in the back of your head, like we can't go too mad.
Yeah,
go too mad. Will anyone listen to it? And that's kind of what you want to do. You're not making it to listen to it yourself. You want people to like it as well to a degree. So yeah, it's one of them. I think the constraints hold you back. I know there's one of the labels said we're not taking anything less than 140 now. So that kind of shows where trance is going.
That's good. That is good.
One of them said we're not going lower than 140, so don't send to us if it's lower than that. So
anything at 138, I normally speed up to 140 anyway. So that makes a difference to me.
So I know DJ Mac, he always plays everything at 140, speeds it up.
Yeah.
He likes it, banging. So yeah.
DJ Panna, welcome in. Welcome in all. Me and Phil are just having a chat about our new track, which is due to land on Aerodynamica Music on the 3rd of January. Plug. Live starts at 1:40.
Yep.
Hi, Rixson. Hi, DJ Panna. Right, Phil, what's your take on the current trance scene and its community?
Well, I must admit, like the people I talk to, they're great.
I think you can select, you can choose your community, and this is the point. You can just get the right people around you.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of bitterness stuff with I know a lot of people are moaning about the streaming sites, things like that, and that can take you down a sort of spiral where people are moaning, and you see a lot of moaning about that. For me, I was talking to Adam from Conductor and Cowboy the other day on just passing chats, and I said there's two sides to the coin. Like, so when I were a kid and I was buying CDs, you sort of buy the CD, and that were that. There were no more income for that producer.
Yeah, it's done. That's it.
Whereas now, it's only half a penny, 0.5p, whatever it is, but there's still a little income as it goes along. So I think for the bigger producers who are getting the 1 million plays a month and stuff like that, it's really, really good. But I think on the flip side, for people like me who might only just get over 1,000 plays per track, they don't pay you for the first 1,000.
Which I think is unbelievably naughty, by the way. I don't know why they've done that. I mean,
there's a lot of people self-releasing as well, and they're paying a £3.99 monthly fee to just be on there. So it's poor, when they're making profit. So there's two sides to that coin. I tend not to get involved too much in it because, like I said, you can go down a rabbit hole and end up moaning about everything really. And like I say, trance is supposed to be uplifting to me. So I think a lot of people you talk to, they're happy that you're doing well. I think in the group I'm keeping at least.
Yeah. Well, listen, if there was something that you said to me that resonates, Phil, that you are just as happy, and it's kind of offloaded on me in a bit. For other people to succeed doing what they're doing, and this is the point. If you're not happy for your fellow trance producers,
people doing well.
Yeah, exactly. And this it all comes down to sharing people's posts, liking and commenting, because it all changes. It all helps on the algorithm. And when you start doing that, when the question about the community, your community starts to develop. With all those people, the algorithm starts hooking onto what you like and what you share, and that is your community.
You get out what you put in. So if you're positive and you're sharing everyone else's stuff, they're going to be positive and share your stuff because you're helping each other up. As long as you're helping each other up, that's all that matters to me. If 5 people listen to it and like the track, 5 people listen to it and like the track, I'll remember the people who shared it, and
mate, yeah, you and me both, mate. There's no doubt about that. It's and I think that back onto that. So the community, you can actually develop your own community as such, and I would say, just try to avoid any negativity that you can on social media, because again, it's rife at the moment, and I don't know why. I try to avoid people like that.
Yeah.
Jamie Archer, I'm all for supporting everyone. We all share the same passion. Exactly that, mate. We all share the passion for music. Exactly that. I just wish, in a way, that the 20-year-olds, I would say, early 20s, like the trance. We start to like trance music, because I looked at my Spotify sort of statistics, and it says a lot of my age group is from 30 onwards. There's no one below that. So
this is it. I don't know. I think there's more younger people getting into it now, though, to be honest, because they're going to festivals, and I think trance is coming back to a degree.
Fantastic if it does, mate.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the older stuff. A lot of it's getting remixed, that's the thing. And it's creeping into the charts with everyone's singing over it or rapping over it or something. You're hearing bits and you're like, oh, I know that. bass line. Where's that from? Where's that been sampled from? So I think bits are creeping back in, like Conductor and Cowboy. Their Sonic remix just came up in the charts again because Colleen.
I did see it pop up all of a sudden. I thought, wow.
Yeah, it's back in like 20 years later because someone's covered it, which is great, you know. So stuff is coming back around, you know. So I don't know, like I say, again, it's who's sharing.
Mark said that we've got a young kid supporting Fallen Angel in Spain. Absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what you want to hear. Yeah. Craig has said the haters are just jealous and don't like anybody else doing well. Yeah, unfortunately, people like that will always exist. Unfortunately, it's you know, it's,
my daughter's hate trance. Yeah, I think my whole family hate music because I just make them listen to it all the time.
This is the thing. You want people's opinion, don't you? You know, it's I must admit, my nan's getting a bit fed up with it now, though.
Yeah.
Have a listen. You have a listen to this and let me know what you think.
Yeah. All my mates are like, "Oh no, it's rubbish."
This will make you laugh, Phil. It's a lot of my mates, right, like schoolmates and stuff like that. They hate my music. Yeah, absolutely despise it.
Mine are the same. You know, they're like, "Oh, we're going to come on TikTok and troll you." I'm like, "Yeah, blocked."
Exactly. It's the thing. Yeah. Daryl, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Yeah, it's I think I've trolled my family with my music over the years. Sick of hearing me.
Right, here we go, Phil. Right, so looking ahead, and this is probably further ahead than, say, next year. Yeah. What are your plans or goals regarding your music?
I think just keep releasing.
Just keep doing it, yeah.
Yeah, just keep monstering on.
I would say go back about a year ago. I had a plan set in place, right? Yeah. I won't say what the plan was, but now I'm like, nah. Plans kind of wound back a bit, you know. And I thought, just do step by step.
I think just be open to stuff that comes in. You know, like this collaboration. You know, this wasn't a thing 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Now suddenly it's, you know,
coming to fruition. How we're laughing.
Yeah, you know. So I think just take it as it comes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really plan it out. If it happens, it happens. Like with the Angel City thing. If it happens, it happens. You know, if it doesn't, you know, I've got to work with them at least. You know, it's, you know.
Well, I hope it does work out for you, mate, because that is a lot of your time and effort that you put into doing that. I mean, that is,
Again, it's a bit of experience for me as well. I look at it as learning. Like I say, I've listened to those tracks inside out now, and now I'm like, that's why that track's so good. That's a really clever thing. I've learned so much from picking apart those tracks now that I can put that into my productions now. So if anything, I've only come out on top.
That's true. If you can take that as a massive positive, then that's you're laughing.
There's always a silver lining somewhere, even if it's lost.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you often, you know, we listen to our tracks so often in our productions, like, you know, on repetition, and when people play it on TikTok or play it to support, and we're like, oh, you know, thank you for supporting, but it's like, my God, I've heard this 1,000 times, you know. But you know, you can't, you know, it's super appreciative because you want people to play it, but
this is it, Yeah, I said this to Si, Lost Witness. I said, you know, when United will come out, I said, well, I'm sick of hearing it now. I love the track because it's heavy, but oh my God.
Here we are. There's a good question there for Fallen Order, Phil. So if trance didn't exist, what other genre would you produce?
So I already produce all sorts. You know,
you're multi. So, if you had to pick one, though, Phil, if you had to pick one, you could only do, you weren't doing trance.
I'd only pick trance. I think I've always come back to trance. Like even when I was hardcore stuff.
Here's the thing: so if you couldn't do trance, then here we go. Mine would be.
I don't stick to anything. Like I sort of jump about. Like I'll start out thinking this is going to be a hardcore track, and it ends up being a bass line, and then I'll go, this is going to be a bass line track, and it ends up being a deep house. So I think, you know, I just sort of go where it goes. I think if you limit yourself, you end up missing out on tracks that you could have made. That's true.
I think for genre, for me, if I couldn't pick trance, it'd probably be drum and bass. Would have started out on that and done that. You know, it's which they're two different ends of the spectrum, aren't they? Yeah. As far as music is concerned.
This is it, yeah.
And I don't think people realise. Well, you know now, Phil, you know from what you've made. how complex drum and bass is.
Yeah.
The elements that go into it is
really
quite. Because I've had a go and I just thought it was a pile of crap. And I thought, stop that. Do no more.
I think everything's complex though when you're not used to it as well. Like when you get into something different as well.
Very true.
You listen to something like Rudimental, for example, for drum and bass, and you think, how has he made that sound? Like, you try to emulate it with your mouth. Like how has he done that? And you'd end up learning a whole new VST to try and figure out the distortions and bits and bats. So I sort of urge anyone to try making different things just to learn.
You're right, just to increase. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
If you're having a creative block, go and try and replicate someone else's track and learn something, because you might find that you end up having a brainwave and going, oh, actually I'm going to do a different track, completely what I was thinking of in the first place. So I sort of urge anyone to just try different things. Like one of the tracks I'm working on now, it's like a Sash track from back in the day.
Yeah, so, there we go, classic trance, that one, mate.
So yeah, this is it. But then again, you look at it and you think, well, is Sash really trance, or was it dance music? Or
see, this is the thing, just straight away I categorised what I thought it was, but yeah, you're right, it differs, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is it. I think it depends who you are and what you're listening to it at the time as to where you put it.
Sure.
So I don't know.
So I'd throw that question back to you, Full in Order. What would you do, mate? Jamie Archer's put, I'd love to do more movie scores. Oh yeah, listen, I'd love to do that. I would love to just focus my attention on that. Going forwards, I think a lot of my breaks are going to be more emotional, I think.
Yeah.
And they're going to utilise a lot of orchestral elements, because I'm starting to really love that.
Yeah.
And dare I say, it's a bit like and I've mentioned him a few times now, but Darren Porter's sort of sound, that sort of the elements and the emotion he creates. Their track One Life, the emotional break in that is phenomenal. Yeah. So those sort of things. Sowley would do euphoric hard style.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like harder styles of music? Well, you might like Eternal Waves track when we put that on in a little while.
Yeah.
Darwin. What was it called? Darwin, wasn't it? What was it called?
Yeah, Darwin. Yeah.
I've literally just downloaded it today, Phil. I thought, you know what? I'll have that.
Yeah, it's that again has a really nice break, and then goes nuts, absolutely nuts. And he said, like, when he first sort of played it, the first track he played it in was in London. He said, and like everyone had their hands up in the air. He said, and then the break came, and when everyone hears it, they'll know. When it hit, he said it just went mad. People were throwing their drinks, and like he said, it was just nuts. So yeah, it's one of them.
I never understood that though. Throwing the drinks, you don't waste a drink like that.
I don't know, but yeah, he said it just went nuts.
Craig has said Zajara and Pitch are one of my favourite. Yeah, I'd agree, mate. They're really good. Really good. You're right.
It's just phenomenal. Like how he does what he does.
Oh yeah, this is what we need to try and get in your head. It's the guy. Absolutely phenomenal. How he does that.
I don't understand how he does it. It's absolutely unbelievable.
But he's also a phenomenal DJ as well. Let's not forget that. So
he's better than me, and I'm all right. Like I just think how just
really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Porter or Bix are the same thing.
Weirdly, I've only just discovered Bix. I don't know how that's happened, but I only discovered him about 6 months ago.
How have you done that, Phil?
On my radar, and I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing. I actually reached out to him. I was like, this guy's unreal. Somehow I've completely missed him.
He's got some really, really good, really cool tracks.
Yeah, he sounds a bit like Artina. It's very similar sort of production.
There's elements that you can hear.
Yeah,
definitely. But again, this is the thing. I guess when you're making music, you aspire to have elements of different people in there. So,
yeah. Definitely.
I think I asked you this, Phil, but what song would you say is your guilty pleasure?
There's a few. Like,
Got to pick one. This is going to be quite a hard question because there's a few that I need to think about here. But I think if I said, I tell you what, right? So one from sort of the kind of hard housing, even though I think it's a bit more hard trance. BK Revolution, love that track. Absolutely love that track. But
you're going to say Barbie Girl, aren't you?
Well, it depends. It depends which mix. No, I think it's probably Ramsterdam.
Yeah. See, mine are real guilty pleasures. Mine are like Venga and stuff. It's awful. It's like.
Well, do you know what though? We shouldn't laugh at that because some of their tracks are really quite catchy.
If you get to the B side of the Party album, which is what I used to listen to, not the boom, boom, boom and all that, the B side are all the club tracks. And the B side's not bad. So they're like the B side's my guilty pleasure. It was the same with Snap Rhythm as a Dancer back in the day. My mum had that on vinyl. And if you flip to the B side, it were a dub mix. And I loved that. I absolutely loved the dub mix of that.
Yeah.
So that's sort of one of my guilty pleasures as well. It's, just so stripped back.
Yeah, but if you think about the Finger Boys track, all of their tracks actually, there's not one track I don't really like. But, it's not something I really want to admit to.
Yeah, this is it. I think, again, when when you're making music, I think you start listening to elements from all over. Like, you'll be watching a movie and you'll be like, I think Tron, that were a really good movie.
Oh, yes.
I was listening to Daft Punk produce that, and the sounds in that, and I was like, how have they made that sound like? One of the beats I learned because I'm like, how has he made that beat sound 8-bit? And all it was, he put like 4 kicks over the top of each other, but slightly delayed. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like an effect, but it wasn't. It was just 4 kicks that were slightly delayed over the top of each other. And it sounds like a 4-bit kick. So there's loads of different things you can learn just by listening, and you think, how has he made that sound? And it's amazing.
Sally's put their Lab 4 Candyman. I don't know that.
Is that Aqua Candyman remix though?
I actually don't know that one. I'm going to have to search that.
I don't know. CJ Stone, yeah, Rhythm is an Answer. I've got that over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's an absolute Mike Push, yeah. He remixed the Finger Boys track. Yeah, I think he did. That's probably the one I like, actually. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know Alice DJ was also the Venga Boys and Can DJ. It were the same producers, which I didn't know until years ago. Yeah, that's why they all sound really good and similar. It's because they all have the same producers. And there's a Venga Boys track that actually is exactly the same as one of Alice DJ's tracks. I can't remember which one it is now. But yeah, one of them, it's exactly the same production, it's just got different vocals. So
yeah.
I think one's
Jamie's put DJ Jurgen.
Yeah.
So he's he goes under different aliases as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got loads.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many artists out there with different names, and actually when you start hunting and start looking, Spotify's a good one. If you go onto Spotify, look at a track and then go to the credits. Look at the credits.
Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah, I do it all the time as well. Find out who's producing it.
Hi, Silky.
Yeah.
Right. Have I got any more questions? Right, I tell you what, let's go back to that one, Phil. Right, so how did you get into music production? How did you actually start? Because for me, I was on a PlayStation 1 and I think I had Music 2000, I think it was. Here we go, look at this. I'm sure he's got a copy of it. There we go. Exactly that, mate. I'm sure I've created a few bangers on that.
Yeah, that's one of the starting points. EJ back in the day where it were at.
Yes.
All sorts of stuff really. Even the Magic's music maker,
Yeah, oh my God.
I just tried everything at one point. It was disgusting, but
you
could make videos in it. So like, I can make a music video,
So I started on that, and then I actually moved into Fruity Loops when I got my cracked version of Fruity Loops on my old Mac that I had, which no longer works. But yeah. And then I tell you what, I'll give a bit of a story here. So I started back in 99, 2000, and I did that for about 4 or 5 years on FL. Yeah. And then I discovered Logic. I did that for another year after that. So it took me up to, God, I've lost track now. But then life got in the way. I had a massive big break right up to 2018. Yeah. Did it for another 12 months again. Then I had another massive break. I actually went back into it in, oh God, probably during COVID, 2023. And I was struggling to actually finish anything. That's why I'm always now, you need to try and finish stuff, because I was my own worst enemy back in the day. But yeah.
Well, that's kind of what happened to me. Like, I couldn't finish a track. Yeah. I had so many ideas going on all the time. that sounds really good. I'm going to just put that into another track, and then I end up half making that, and then I'll have another idea and do that. And I ended up with a sample pack then because I wanted to release it, but I was having so many ideas once I started making the melodies that I ended up just releasing the melodies. And there's a couple I regret releasing because they were so good, but people have gone on and had some big tracks with them, and I'm like, oh, that's my blooming melody. That obviously I'd never out them, but you're like, oh, that's mine. So it's a bit soul destroying when you sort of sell your melodies to people and it's royalty free, and then someone else is doing well off it, and it's good because it's an income. Then you can actually make this job an income to a degree. Not massive, but it's nice to get a little bit back here and there.
It's probably worth mentioning your millions and millions of views that you've got from the stuff you've done. Yeah. I don't think anybody knows you do this, do they?
Yeah, no, this is it. Yeah, this is the thing. But yeah, I've done all sorts of stuff through just making samples and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's really what I wanted to do at the beginning. Was just like, I'm going to make samples. I'm going to, program VSTs and.
You didn't think about producing that, but it was just doing that.
I did it for myself, but never really released anything. I was just sort of more into that side of it, just because it's something I enjoy. A lot of it was, can I make that sound? Like, I listen to other people's music and I go, how did they do that? That's kind of how my brain works. Like, how does that sample make that noise? And so for me, like, I used to do a lot of copying people's sounds and then releasing like a MIDI pack of those sounds.
Okay, yeah.
It was similar, but they weren't exactly a copy. But yeah, that was sort of where I was, sort of through the 2000s. Yeah, I did it.
Any questions in the chat? What I think I'll do in a minute, Phil, is I'll play the track. I'll play our track again.
Yeah.
So the track is Contagion, Rixson Eternal Waves, and it's due out on the 3rd of January. So any support on this one, guys, will be massively, massively appreciated. Whether you're buying or pre-saving, it makes no difference to me as far as I'm concerned. As long as people are listening to it, it actually gets it out to the masses. That's the main thing. Yeah, let's see. Craig said that he can't produce, but he plays and creates his own melodies. I don't know if you've heard Craig. You've heard Craig on Facebook, some of his videos he does, Phil.
Yeah, I've seen a few bits, yeah.
Yeah, he's a fantastic keyboard player, or piano player. So
that's kind of how I started, though. Just, again, when I was a kid, my mum bought me a keyboard when I was, probably about 10. And my grandma taught me sort of, hand positions because she used to be a piano teacher.
Oh, wow. You can't be taught more better.
Yeah, so I just sort of learnt to tinkle. Again, listening to other people's tracks like ATB, and like, how did it, obviously I was, younger, so like, how did they get that bend? Like, so then I would try to do it on the keyboard and it didn't have the capability, and I'm like, how does he do that? And obviously eventually you figure it out.
ATB, he was, some of his tracks, I loved his tracks.
Yeah,
but there was a track he brought out, right? And again, there's no point in my memory's gone today. But the one he brought out after that was exactly the same. It sounded very similar.
Don't stop.
Yes, still loved it. But it's very, very, very similar.
I think that again though is fitting in the mold, isn't it? Like Daru did the same thing. The next 3 tracks he brought out sounded like Sandstone. And I think that's the thing. You're scared of, better stick with what people are enjoying, and I think you put yourself in like a box, like we are now, and you're scared to just go, I'm going to throw guitar in there, or I'm going to, throw a mad synth in or something,
Already on our follow-up, I'm thinking sort of guitars and stuff like that and orchestral elements, because it's, again, nobody's come up with a name yet, Phil, so. No, Jamie's put in here Meta and Glide packs I heard on so many new tracks. Yeah, I totally agree with that, and it's, but that's samples. You'll always hear samples, and then that will sort of die off, and you'll have another sample pack that you'll hear.
This is what I was saying about, like, you find a lot of the acids of the presets, because acids are really difficult to make and be interesting without being harsh. Because you're playing with resonance, they can be really in your ears, and
And I tell you where I hear a lot of them. I hear a lot of acids from Alan Watts packs.
Yeah,
right, on these tracks, because we said this, and it's so obvious, it stands out like anything, but it's kind of that's kind of irrelevant to me, because it's what makes a tune. It's how
this is the thing, the elements are what make it, and the thing is, it's like not everyone knows how to program at VST, you know, so you can't knock anyone for that, you know, just how it is.
Fallen Order has said if he could move anything, if he could move from FL to Logic, he would, but he's not a Mac user.
Yeah.
Well, listen, when I went from Windows to Mac, that was a massive change in itself. So I had to learn that first before I learned Logic.
Yeah,
so
the keyboards are on.
Oh yeah, honestly, mate, it was crazy.
Yeah. That's like I said, when I worked with Darwin, he was on Logic, and I almost made the jump, but I was just too comfortable on FL.
If you did, Phil, it would have made our process a lot easier. But you know, it didn't change too many things. Is anybody who wants to jump in a box and chat? Because it's kind of turned into a bit of a lads chat now. So
chatting away.
Once you go Max, there's no turning back. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I see what I'll do. I'm going to play the track, Phil.
Yeah, go for it.
going to play your Let's Dance track next, Phil. Nice and fast. Well, that's if you want me to. Yeah, I don't have to if you don't want me to. Give us a thumbs up. Man, this is fast. This is 174 beats a minute. Like these elements. It's definitely fast. What was that? I like that. What language that was. Phil, I think it's got a long break as well, hasn't it? There's some really cool elements in this. like that sound, Phil. We need that sound. Like it, mate.
Nuts.
Love it. Love it. I love it. Do you know what? I mean, so that's what you call happy hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, what BPM range does that normally sit in? Because this is 174, so...
170 usually.
170.
Yeah. It's,
Don't hang about, is it?
That was a bit of a masterclass for me, that. So, honestly, when I went to work with him, I was just watching him. My brain was broken.
Yeah, but mate, it's cool. I think there's some elements in there that are wicked.
Yeah.
That little,
yeah, you can definitely tell he did dance map tracks and stuff. He's definitely got that, that sort of Chinesey sort of like.
Yeah. There was what thing was that? What language was that?
I think that was Spanish, so we didn't know what it said. Like we're like, we were just a sample. Like, well, bandlighting, that sounds good. And then it was about 4 weeks later. I'm like, I put it into a translator. Like, it means silent night. Like, it's nothing like a silent night.
But thank God it only means that, Phil. This is the point.
Yeah. Silent night. Like that don't fit.
Well, look, Phil, we've overrun by 11 minutes, right? But I think that went okay. I think it gave people a bit of an insight.
Yeah.
About with us and the track and whatnot. So the track's out on the 3rd. The track's called Contagion. And we'll have one last guess, if anybody gets it. But we're going to be doing a follow-up to this track. Can anybody guess the name of it? To be the neighbour on the louder night. Yeah. UWE official, welcome in. How are you? We're literally just finishing up now. Been on for 2 hours. Yeah. Unless there's any more questions, maybe we should call it, Phil.
Yeah, I'm down.
Thanks for popping on, mate. I really do hope the track does well. It kicks out, like I say, it lands on the 3rd of January. Another plug. 3rd of January.
We've already got antidote.
Oh! Well done, Jamie.
Yeah.
What we'll have to do, mate? We'll have to make sure you get a copy, right? When we're because I think we're due to give Mags a copy.
Yeah,
I think she got the name originally, didn't she?
Yeah, we all know.
Well, that was easy for him, wasn't it? You got that.
Maybe we're not that creative.
We just have to get on and write the track now.
Yeah, that's it. We've got some ideas already, haven't we? So
yes. Start penciling down the ideas. But I mean, is any ideas from people in the chat on how you think it should sound? No, don't worry, Jamie. That was the idea of it, mate, and you got it.
That last one, honestly, we were going mad, wasn't it, when we said guess the name of the track? It's
God, it went crazy.
Section, honestly, like 2,000 views or something. It went mad.
UWE official, yes, we've just played our new track Contagion. It lands on Aerodynamic Records on the 3rd of January 2025. Your support would be massively appreciated. DJ Scanny, welcome in. Yeah, any more questions? No, right, let's call it then, Phil.
I'm down. We'll have to pop back on afterwards, see how it's going.
Cheers, bud.
Yeah, we've got another one, haven't we?
You doing any more collab? Yes, we are. Yeah, we're doing another collaboration, myself and Eternal Waves in 2025. Don't know where it's landing yet. We haven't written the track yet, but it's a follow-up to this track, Contagion. Jamie's just got the name of it. It's going to be called Antidote. So it's slightly different. When we talked about earlier on about coming up with a name after the track, we're actually coming up with a name and we're writing around the track around the name, so which is good. It might be a different. This might be a different take on it, Phil.
Yeah,
it's going to be a different element because we're going to, it's going to be sort of healing, antidote-y,
Yeah.
vaccine.
Maybe it was the same score, but backwards it somehow. I don't know. I might have to.
Now that is an idea, my friend. Wow.
Yeah, I might have to think about something like that.
That could be good, couldn't it?
Yeah, I'm just I think. Might have to do it live on here.
Listen, look, you should do that, mate. A lot of people like the lives. They like to see what we're doing. I was trying to set my OBS up, but I haven't quite worked out how to do it just yet. So
yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll have to do a test next time.
Monet, welcome in. Hello. You've just literally missed us. If you've only just popped in, we've been here for 2 and a bit hours now. You've missed all the good stuff, unfortunately. Right, Phil, let's call it, mate. Have a lovely evening. Thanks for popping on, sir. Your support will be appreciated, people. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
See you, mate. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you in a bit, mate.